The 1968 United Kingdom New Pence 10 pence coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II holds a very special place in British numismatics because it was one of the very first coins produced for the historic decimalisation transition that the United Kingdom was preparing for years before the official changeover in 1971. Although the public commonly associates decimal coins with the year 1971, the 1968 New Pence 10 coin actually predates Decimal Day, being struck early so that people could gradually become familiar with the new system. Made of nickel, with a silver-like color and a diameter of 28.5 millimeters, the 1968 10 was significantly larger than the modern post 1992 10, giving the early decimal coins a bold, heavy feel. On the obverse, the coin displays the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the famous sculptor Arnold, who created one of the most iconic royal effigies ever struck on British coinage. The portrait shows the Queen wearing the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, and this portrait appeared on UK coins from 1968 until 1984. Around the portrait is the legend, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, an abbreviation of Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, reflecting the traditional royal titles used since centuries. The reverse of the coin features the powerful heraldic symbol of the crowned lion, representing the strength, stability, and ancient tradition of the British monarchy. The inscription New Pence appears at the top, not only identifying the coin's value, but also signaling to the population that these were brand new decimal units replacing the old pre-decimal system of pounds, shillings, and pence. This New Pence wording appeared on UK decimal coins from 1968 until 1981, after which it was changed to simply 10 pence, to show that decimalisation was already fully understood. The 1968 issue marks the very first year that this denomination was produced, making it historically important for collectors because it represents the beginning of modern British. These coins were struck in very large quantities, so that millions could circulate before the 1971 changeover, ensuring the public would feel comfortable with the new sizes, weights, and values. Because of these high mintages, the standard circulation 1968 10 is common, but it remains culturally valuable because it symbolizes a major national monetary transformation. Collectors appreciate this coin for its role in the evolution of British currency, its classic portrait, and its large, impressive size, which reflects the style of British coinage during the late 1960s and early 1970s for numismatists today. The 1968 10 New Pence coin is a fascinating link between two eras: the end of Britain's centuries-old pre-decimal monetary system and the beginning of the clean, simplified decimal currency still used today. It also reflects the technological improvements of the Royal Mint, which in the late 1960s was transitioning to more modern minting equipment and production methods, eventually moving to the new Royal Mint facility in Wales in 1968 to 1969. Though typically affordable, coins in brilliant uncirculated, BU, or proof-like condition, especially those stored in early decimal presentation sets, are more desirable and demonstrate the sharp detail of the crowned lion and the fine lines of the portrait. The 1968 10 therefore carries both historical charm and aesthetic appeal, representing a pivotal moment in British economic history when tradition met modernity. Even though this coin is no longer minted in its original large-size form, it continues to be appreciated by collectors worldwide, especially those interested in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, decimalisation history, and British numismatics. Its legacy remains strong because it captures the atmosphere of a nation undergoing modernization while preserving its royal heritage, making the 1968 New Pence 10 an essential and meaningful piece in any serious coin collection next top 2. The 1971 United Kingdom 10 New Pence coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II is one of the most historically significant decimal coins produced by the Royal Mint because it marks the official first year of British decimalisation, a massive national currency reform known as Decimal Day, February 15, 1971, when the UK abandoned the centuries-old pounds, shillings, pence system and replaced it with the modern 100 pence system. The 1971 10 pence coin belongs to the first generation of decimal coins introduced during this transition, and it played a major role in helping the British public adapt to the new monetary structure. The coin was introduced as part of the new decimal series beginning in 1968, But 1971 is considered the key inaugural circulation year, when it officially replaced the older 2 shilling florin coin, which had nearly the same value, 10 pence equals old 2 shillings. Because the 10 coin size was intentionally kept large, 28.5 millimeters diameter, cupronickel metal, and weight of 11.31 grams. It matched the physical characteristics of the florin, making it easier for the public to accept. On the obverse, the coin carries the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Arnold, depicting the young queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This portrait was used on all British decimal coins from 1968 to 1984 and is one of the most admired effigies due to its elegant simplicity and sharp profiles. The legend around the portrait reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith, followed by the date 1971, marking its place in the new decimal monetary era. On the reverse, the coin displays the powerful design of the lion passant guardant, a traditional heraldic symbol representing England, taken from the royal coat of arms. The reverse design was created by Christopher Ironside, the principal designer of the new decimal coinage, and his work reflects the combination of tradition and modernity that the Royal Mint aimed to achieve during decimalization. The inscription New Pence appears above the lion with the value 10 below it. The phrase New Pence was used on the earliest decimal coins to prevent confusion with the older pre-decimal pennies. This wording remained until 1982, when the inscription changed to simply 10 pence, making earlier New Pence coins like the 1971 issue particularly interesting for collectors who value transitional designs. The metal composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel gave the coin a bright silver-like appearance and excellent durability, which helped these large 10 pieces circulate heavily throughout the 1970s and early 1980s. Because 1971 marked the introduction of decimal currency, a very high mintage was required to supply the entire country, and tens of millions were struck for circulation, meaning the coin remains common in worn condition but significant historically. In British coinage history, 1971 represents a turning point where the UK its monetary system, making every decimal coin from that year, including the 10 new pence, a symbolic artifact of national transformation. Collectors particularly appreciate the large-sized 10 issues minted from 1968 to 1992, which were eventually withdrawn, and in later years when the Royal Mint reduced the size of the 10 coin in 1992, making the big heavy 1971 pieces obsolete in circulation but valuable as historical keepsakes. The coin connects deeply to the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II, who oversaw more currency changes than any other British monarch. The 1971 10 new pence thus captures an era of economic modernization, cultural adaptation, and national identity, representing the moment when traditional British currency evolved into a unified decimal system. Today, collectors value the coin for its educational role in British monetary history, its early use of portrait, its bold heraldic reverse, and its position as a major emblem of the 1971 decimalization revolution. While common in circulated condition, it remains highly collectible for those who in decimal coins, Queen Elizabeth II portrait series, or transitional-era British numismatics. In essence, the 1971 new pence 10 coin stands as a classic, historically rich piece that the United Kingdom's move from centuries-old currency traditions into the modern world. An artifact of national change, royal heritage, and numismatic importance that continues to fascinate historians, collectors, and enthusiasts more than 5 decades after its introduction. Next top 3. The United Kingdom 1992 10 pence 10 coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II stands as one of the most historically significant modern circulating coins because it marks one of the major transitions in the decimal coinage system of Britain. To understand its importance, we must look at the broader context of British currency reforms. In 1971, the UK officially moved from the centuries-old pounds, shillings, pence system to the modern decimal system, and the original 10 pence coin introduced in 1968, 3 years before Decimal Day, was large, heavy, and made of cupronickel. For more than 20 years, that large-sized 10 coin circulated widely, with Queen Elizabeth II's first portrait by Arnold and later the Raphael portrait beginning in 1985. By the early 1990s, Economic and practical concerns pushed the Royal Mint to begin reducing the sizes of certain coins, similar to how the larger 5 was replaced with a smaller version in 1990. As part of this modernization, 1992 was the year the 10 pence coin was officially reduced to the smaller, lighter size we still use today. This new coin retained the classic lion design created by Christopher Ironside, depicting the lion passant guardant, a heraldic symbol from the royal coat of arms that represents bravery, dignity, and centuries of monarchy. The obverse bears the third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by sculptor Raphael, used from 1985 to 1997, showing the Queen wearing the George IV state diadem, a crown often worn for the state opening of Parliament. The inscription around her portrait reads Elizabeth II Di Gratia FD, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, defender of the faith, reflecting the monarch's constitutional and religious roles. The metal composition for the 1992 small-size 10 remained cupronickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, giving it durability for circulation before the later switch to nickel-plated steel in 2012 due to rising metal prices. The new 1992 coin weighed 6.5 grams, measured 24.5 millimeters, and had a milled, reeded edge, much smaller than the original large 10, which weighed 11.31 grams and measured 28.5 millimeters. One major historical point is that 1992 and 1993 were the only 2 years when the new small-size design was dated before the UK changed its reverse designs in 2008, making these early small-sized coins a key date range for collectors who want examples from the transition period. The Royal Mint produced tens of millions of these coins for circulation, and even though they are not rare, collectors value them for their historical timing as the first year of the reduced size. Importantly, 1992 10 pence coins were part of massive public awareness campaigns in the UK as people adjusted to the new coin sizes. Shops, banks, vending machine companies, and transport systems had to recalibrate machines to accept the new smaller coins. For numismatists, this coin represents the intersection of monetary modernization, technological adaptation, and the evolving portraiture of the Queen, as each portrait reflected an era of her 70-year reign. In circulated condition, the 1992 10 usually holds low monetary value since it is common, but in brilliant uncirculated, BU, or proof condition, values increase, especially for collectors assembling complete decimal sets. The design remained unchanged until the 2008 Royal Shield redesign by Matthew Dent, making the 1992 to 2007 series the final era of the classic lion reverse. The year 1992 also holds symbolic relevance because it occurred during the Queen's famously difficult when multiple royal family events and challenges took place, giving this coin a place in the broader historical narrative of Britain during that decade. While the coin seems simple, it carries layers of history, technological changes, a monarchy in transition, the evolution of British currency, and the development of modern coinage standards. Collectors worldwide value it as part of the decimal timeline, and because it marks the moment when Britain completed its major coin size reductions that began in 1990. As time passes, high-grade 1992 10 pence coins become scarcer since most circulated pieces show wear, scratches, and metal loss from decades of use. But regardless of condition, the 1992 Elizabeth II 10 pence is an important milestone coin whose significance lies not in rarity, but in the story it tells about a changing United Kingdom and the enduring legacy of Queen Elizabeth II's reign.